Before the genocide in 2023 in Gaza, our life was like living inside a five-star prison. This is Tarek AlFarra from Gaza Straight, from Khan Yunis, from the south. I lived through the whole 2 years of genocide that are still happening until now. I also lived my whole life there in Gaza, 20 years of wars, fear, bombings, and displacements. Palestine and Gaza are not like a political issue anymore. It's now a humanity issue. And there is one thing you have to understand. You cannot be like in between. You cannot stand between justice and injustice. Listen to your conscience, be human, and stand for humanity, stand for Palestine. If you have a sense of humanity inside you, if you care about justice in this world, you stand with Palestine. When I was in Gaza, I waited for months for the Freedom Flotilla boats, and I wanted to see them. The mission was to go to Gaza, the boats to go to Gaza, but as we see, it's almost impossible for the boats to reach to Gaza. So now we are doing the opposite direction. We're going to the opposite direction, that we bring Gaza to the boat.
Hello to everybody. We are in Naples with Tarek AlFarra. Today there is an initiative at the dock. A boat called named after Ghassan Kanafani of the Freedom Flotilla Italy just arrived. Tarek, thank you very much for your time. The first question I want to ask you is basically if you can introduce a bit yourself for our listeners and viewers in Italy and around the world.
Of course. Good morning, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Tarek AlFarra from Gaza Straight, from Khan Yunis, from the south. I arrived to Italy 6 months ago. I lived through the whole 2 years of genocide that are still happening until now. I also lived my whole life there in Gaza, 20 years of wars, fear, bombings, and displacements.
And I understand you were a teacher, right? You were teaching to young kids in Gaza throughout the genocide. What you were teaching?
Yes, during the genocide, I found that I have the duty to provide my people something through my language, because I had the English language. I studied in the university and I finished during the war. So I started to teach the kids the basic of English language, not only to educate them, but also to give them like activities to bring them out from the reality that they live. Yeah.
And coming to what was living under the genocide, of course, somebody argues, and I agree with them, that the real genocide started in 1948. But for simplicity, when I will say genocide during this interview, I will refer to what happened since the 8th of October 2023. So can you give us an idea what was like living in Gaza before and throughout the genocide, and how it changed your daily life?
Of course, as you said, the genocide, the war, the occupation on Palestine in general, not just in Gaza, has started like more than 70 years ago. More than 70 years ago, my people were forced to displace, were killed, were living under fear and displacements. So before the genocide in 2023 in Gaza, our life was like living inside a five-star prison. You know, we were blessed by like 8 hours of electricity per day. We had universities, we had schools, we had the hospitals, but at the same time, everything was limited. Like all the necessities, all the food, all the support was also controlled by the occupation. That at any time you could found like the borders being closed and you found yourself trapped. And also we were living under instability, that at any time you could wake up in the morning and find your neighborhood being bombed for no reason. That's why we lived through repeatedly wars during the previous years. But during the genocide in 2023, we experienced like unprecedented war, unprecedented like uh, experience about this war, that they started to bomb everything. They started to do the genocide on the Palestinian people. They didn't care about if that was a baby or an old man. They just killed everyone. They didn't care about political party. They take the political party as an excuse to kill everyone inside Gaza. Now my people are being killed. Until now, the genocide didn't end, because what happened about the ceasefire, that was a fake ceasefire, just to take an excuse to kill the people under some fake scenarios. They prevent scenarios just to kill the people and to continue with this war. We have lived like I've lived 2 years of displacements, of bombings, of starvation. Our house was bombed. Now we have no house, we have no land, we have nothing, because everything just vanished within a day and night.
So just to be more accurate, when basically you said that violations of international law started long before October 7, and when you referred to a political party, I guess you meant Hamas, that was elected, and after that the siege on Gaza was increased, because as far as I'm concerned, the airport of Gaza, the dock of Gaza was closed way before the election of Hamas, if I'm correct. And another thing I wanted to ask you, we tend to think of Gaza as a place of death and destruction, and I would say that the public tends to see Gaza and the people of Gaza only as numbers, not real people. So I wanted to ask you if you can share one good memory of Gaza, maybe something that happened even during the genocide or before.
Of course. First of all, as you said, Gaza's people are not numbers. We all have dreams. We all have goals. We all have lives just like the other people in the world. Uh, Most of the people of my country are educated, including me. I finished my bachelor degree during the war. The war happened and I was in my last year, and I had to continue studying online in the university so I can finish my year. And I'm here because of a scholarship that proves that the Palestinian people are educated. Not only me, also more than 200 students have arrived to Italy in the past 6 months just to study in Italy, and they've been granted this scholarship because they were educated, because they studied in the schools and the universities, and also there are many still stuck there. One of the memories that I would love to mention during the genocide, that even upon the destruction, upon the rubble of the homes, of our homes, we we started to build small schools, like the initiative that I started. We started to build a small class for the kids, so they can gather, so they can know what is a school exactly, because some of them was born, some of them was start to be aware to the reality, and they didn't go to school. So we try to build them like an environment so they can learn, so they can be together, so they can be creative and to escape from the reality. So that's one of the really emotional memories for me, that I keep teaching the kids for like 4 to 5 months, and they really came to the school every day, and they were asking us like to teach them all the day, because they found in this environment a different reality. They found the life, not when they come back to their homes and they like a kid with and he's 5 years old, and that he had to go and fill the water, or find the food, or do the chores that his father is supposed to be doing. So that was one of the most important and emotional memories for me in Gaza.
So I understand that basically within this dreadful and horrific experience, people were still interested in education and could somewhat escape this hyper harsh reality. You mentioned school and education, and you said also that people are still stuck in Gaza. Can you give us an idea on the people, on students mainly, who wants to arrive in Italy and in other European countries? What are the difficulties they're facing or that yourself have faced?
Of course, the difficulty is that now all the borders, all Gaza Strip, from the sea, from the land, from the sky, are controlled, and we are under siege, and nothing can be entered, and nothing can be got out from Gaza without the permission of the occupation. So for me, I applied for a scholarship, and I granted that this scholarship. I was granted this scholarship, and I had to wait like 4 to 5 months just to get out. I met all the requirements. I was fully ready for the scholarship. One thing was preventing me from getting out and come to Italy. It was the evacuation, getting out from the strip. Not only me, also the other students. They are now still waiting since I was arrived, since like 6 months ago, and every day there is a difficulties. There is more siege. There is more suffocating control upon the strip, that they don't let the people get out. They just want to squeeze the people in a small piece of land so they can target them and kill them like sorry for this expression, but like chicks, you know. So
Like sheeps, like
yeah.
like animals.
Yes, because that's why they called us the first days of the war. Human
Yes,
animals.
yes.
What can Israel do to alleviate the impact of this conflict on 2 million civilians, many of whom have nothing to do with Hamas?
First of all, we have to understand there's a state in a way that has built a machine of evil right at our doorstep. It's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true.
So now, more than like 100 students are still stuck in Gaza. They're waiting. They are waiting for their dream. They had a scholarship. They meet all the requirements. The only thing that still stand in front of them and preventing them from coming here is the evacuation, is the closed borders by the occupation.
The cross border on the Egyptian side or the Jordanian side, or both?
Both of them, all the borders. As I said, all the borders from the Egyptian side, from the Jordanian side, from the sea, from the sky. Everything is closed in Gaza. You cannot move, and you are always under control.
And there are many people in Italy took out in the streets, and we are carrying on activities like boycott, divest, and sanctions to try to put pressure on our governments, and so that the genocide is not funded. But many people, they just don't care, or maybe there are activists, but they're not motivated because they feel that they are powerless. So do you have a message for all those people?
Of course. First of all, I want to thank all the activists. I want to thank all the Italian people who are protesting, who are boycotting, who are keeping their voice louder for Palestine, for justice, for humanity. Because now Palestine and Gaza are not like a political issue anymore. It's now a humanity issue. And there is one thing you have to understand. You cannot be like in between. You cannot stand between justice and injustice. You cannot stand between white and black. There's no gray in this area now. If you looked away from humanity, if you saw a child being killed, if you saw people are being oppressed, and you just looked away, that means that you accept this, and that you are with the injustice, with the inhumanity. So my message now is, listen to your conscience, be human, and stand for humanity, stand for Palestine. Palestine is not a political issue. Palestine is a humanity issue. If you have a sense of humanity inside you, if you care about justice in this world, you stand with Palestine, because one day it will reach to you.
And do you wish to add anything else?
I want to say that I'm very happy that I'm now part of Freedom Flotilla Italia on board with them, because when I was in Gaza, I waited for months for the Freedom Flotilla boats, and I wanted to see them. And once I arrived here and I heard about Freedom Flotilla, I couldn't wait to be on board with them, because it's very important for me to be there, because I am from Gaza, because the mission was to go to Gaza, the boats to go to Gaza, but as we see, it's almost impossible for the boats to reach to Gaza. So now we are doing the opposite direction. We're going to the opposite direction, that we bring Gaza to the boat. And that you have to know, you must know that we must talk, we must go through all the directions. And we must understand the strategy. We have to have a strategy to fight the occupation, to end the occupation in all the world, not just in Palestine.
Tarek, I want to thank you very much for this valuable testimony. And I want also to say that I'm sorry, personally and collectively, as an Italian citizen, because we were not able, despite all our efforts, to put enough pressure on our governments to stop funding the genocide. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Grazie, Tarek. Grazie.
فلسطين حرة حرة فلسطين حرة حرة فلسطين حرة حرة فلسطين ليبرا فلسطين ليبرا فلسطين ليبرا فلسطين ليبرا Benvenuti a Napoli!